Hello, everybody, and welcome into another episode of the Fastball Sports Network. I am Frank. That is Mark. How are we doing today, Mark?
Doing well, hanging in there. We're gonna talk some wrestling. So I'd say it's always a good time, but it should be a good time.
Well, that is what we do here, and today will not be any different. So, for those of you looking for not a wrestling podcast, I'm sorry, but this is not it. Anyway, we're gonna get into Raw and SmackDown, and we're actually recording this only a few hours before SmackDown. So people might see this after SmackDown's already aired, but I promise we haven't watched it, we haven't spoiled it. So
Two title matches tonight.
oh, is there?
Yeah, I got an email actually. I didn't know they emailed me, but it was
Uh
Big E versus Apollo, and what's the other one?
are the Profits fighting?
There you go, Street Profits
Okay,
versus
there you go.
Dolph and Bobby Roode.
All right. So when we get to SmackDown, we'll be sure to talk about those two very uneventful matches that will happen later.
Yep.
Um, let's get into Raw on Monday night because I know you love the concept of Legends Night and Raw having Legends Night. Actually, no, wait. Before we get into Raw, let's do what we've been doing. Royal Rumble predictions. You sticking with Daniel Bryan?
I think Keith Lee has gotten a lot of traction over the last few days. I keep seeing his name coming up more than like not. I'm gonna stick with DB because they haven't put DB in the feud yet with Roman, where I think if they put him in now, then it probably would take him out of the running because he probably would have fought Roman at Royal Rumble. But the fact that he's still not involved and it's still like Kevin Owens getting beat up every week, like I think they're saving DB for that. So I'm gonna stick with DB for now.
All right. I think I'm starting to agree with you, unfortunately.
Wow,
And
your
I
boy.
don't say unfortunately because I don't want to agree with you. I say unfortunately because I think that him winning this Rumble is about 3 years too late. You know, it feels like if he wins the Rumble, okay. First of all, I'm not a Bryan hater at all. I love DB. I think he's great. So if they do this, I won't be upset per se. But I think that this would have been more exciting when he had more traction years ago, and they just never
Yeah,
could pull the trigger on it. So now it feels like a ratings is down kind of move. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, but you guys wanted this 3 years ago, right? It's like, yeah, but so listen, if he wins, I won't be that upset. But if he doesn't win, and it's somebody even like this is not worst case scenario, is what I'm trying to say for me anyway.
I
But
think
I still think that it's not best case scenario.
I think it'd be more of like a paying homage to one of the all-time greats in his last run instead of like a ratings are down ploy.
I I I get it, I do, but I just for me, it's just like it feels it feels late. You know what I mean? Like it feels like this should have happened years ago. He was hotter years
Yeah, no,
ago. That's
that's
not to say that he's not a good wrestler now and he's not connecting with the fans and stuff like that, but I feel as if he should have gotten this years
I mean,
ago.
he'll never be as hot as he was during the S movement. That's not arguable. But I mean, better late than never.
Yeah, no, and I also agree with what you're saying about Keith Lee. I do think that that report that Vince was like soured on him um, can't be true because he's just been in the main event like every week since then. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh, and they actually let him finish a match this week. So kudos to
he did lose,
the
but
staff on Raw
it was a finish.
for letting Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre. He did lose, but honestly, I think we'd rather that, right? Wouldn't we rather him lose?
At this point, I'll take a finish over a non-finish, especially with him. Yeah,
Yeah, and it was a phenomenal match. It was everything that they actually uh advertised for Raw, right? They said once, this is a pay-per-view type match that you're getting on Raw for the WWE Championship, and it didn't disappoint up until the end. And I guess that's oh wait, first, before we go to Goldberg, let's start let's throw our women's predictions in here. But honestly, I feel bad because I feel like we're not even covering the women, but I feel like we just both have the same guess for the women. You're not going to change your answer, right? Not as of right now.
I mean, like you gotta. I think Charlotte is like, as good of a chance as anyone.
I
Like,
agree with that.
like easily.
Charlotte and Bailey and
And Bianca, like it's
Bianca
kind of at a point where I'd be surprised if it wasn't one of those three. Where like at
yeah.
least with the men, we can name like 10-ish.
Unless like Ronda Rousey comes back or
Yeah,
somebody like that, then yeah. But yes, you're right. With the men, it's like, listen, I don't want to say the name because I've been enjoying life without this person, but if Brock Lesnar signed on the dotted line today, he could win the Rumble on January 29th. And we would have no clue, especially in this COVID world that we're living in right now. I
Yep.
don't think we'd have a clue that he's coming back. So it's very possible that there are a lot of names in the men that we don't even know about yet.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the speculation. There's always the chance of Cena. There's always the chance of Punk. Like you never know. Like
You
with
know,
with the women, there's like like possibilities, like every single time, and it's just the nature of the beast. It's how the
listen,
situation is.
and this is not us putting that roster in a box. They've put that roster in a box. They've kind of done this to us.
Yeah,
I mean, we talk about Naomi all the time on this channel. For someone who never shows up to a wrestling event, we talk about Naomi a ton. We
yeah.
talk about Mandy Rose. We talk about Sonya Deville all the time here. So it's not us neglecting the fact that they have talent. If we were in charge, would book it differently. Well, actually, I would still book Bianca, but that's a different thing. Um, it's just the fact that that is what they have given us so far, and that's like sort of the expectation right now. Listen, if they decided tomorrow to push, a Sonya Deville had that weird return on SmackDown, but she didn't do anything. I don't
That's
know
so
if you saw
weird.
that.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I was like excited. I'm like, okay, here we go. Like, put her in something, and then they did nothing with
And
it.
they put
Which,
her on SmackDown.
yeah, and like, whatever. I don't even care about that.
I do.
But if she wins the Rumble, like we'll be hyped. You know what I mean? Like we'll be excited. We'll be like, okay, we did not see that coming. Like she's got some talent. Like I'll be good with that.
I wouldn't be
But I
hyped.
just don't see it right
I wouldn't
now.
be. A lot of people would be. I wouldn't be hyped. I don't care. Like she has like this weird following. I don't know if it's weird, but she has like a nice sizable following. I don't really care, but like
I think she's super talented.
she's really good. I just don't really care about her.
Hair up and square up. She's still saying that? I don't think she's still
They're all
saying
like really good, except for Lana. Like they're all really talented. So
it. Yeah. Liv Morgan. I thought so I wasn't watching SmackDown Live and uh what's her name? Billy Kay put together a team of it was Tamina and Natty,
yeah,
and they went up against the Riot Squad. So I'm not watching SmackDown, but I look at Twitter and I see the tweet of Billy Kay celebrating, and I'm like, did they really, really just make the Riot Squad lose on a tag team they threw together for a week? I'm like, that's awful, but they didn't.
she like jumped on the other team.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's
she
been
had
great.
turned on the
She's
team.
really funny.
Super entertaining for sure. Definitely a misuse of her talent right now. But hey, what can we do? Um, all right, let's get into it. You have something to say about Goldberg, and I want you to say it to all these people, and then I'll make my counter argument. It's fine. We agree on a lot of things. We don't agree on this, but I'm gonna let you have the floor.
Listen,
You
I'm not ecstatic about it. I'm not like running around celebrating like, yes, Bill Goldberg is back. He's 55 years old. He looks amazing. Like that's not what this is. What this is I am so turned off Monday Night Raw. Like I will do anything except for watch that show. I watched Bachelor with my girlfriend instead of watching that show. Like I will do whatever it takes to not have that show on. And it's like it's so true. And like I enjoy SmackDown. I actually have been watching a little bit more NXT than I usually do. Like these shows are good. Raw is unwatchable. And like it's not Drew's fault. Like I'm not gonna say it's Drew's fault, but it is under his watch. And like he is the face of the show and he's the face of the company right now. And again, it's not his fault. It's the booking. It's how the writing is going. But naturally, he is like being brought down because of it. Like it's a stain on him and it's a stain on the show because he doesn't save it for me. Like he has these great matches every week with either like Miz or Morrison or some random guy and does nothing for me. Like it doesn't matter. And it was a great match with Keith Lee. That was awesome. But it's the same handful of people every week, and he always wins, except for the hot minute where Randy won, and you just gave it right back to him for no reason, just to give like Randy another title. No one really knows why that happened still, but it's just like I said, I don't like Goldberg. I thought the Goldberg Fiend stuff was some of the worst stuff WWE has ever done, but in this situation right now, with how dead Raw is and how just the whole like climate right now of you need something different, I think it's not a bad idea to bring Goldberg back. Whether he wins or loses, I'm not sure yet. I think there's a good case for either one of those two, but I think just having him back is important, and I'm not upset about it right now.
So here's my few things with Goldberg. Number one, he's starting to look old. Okay, I know that's going to hurt a lot of people in the Goldberg is 55 and he still looks phenomenal, camp. Yes, muscular wise, he could still kick my ass. Like, I'll give him that. Okay. I'm not arguing that. I am saying that in his face, he's starting to look a little bit old. Okay.
But he's not going to
Look at,
wrestle. Like, his wrestling
I
matches
know,
are 3 minute
which
spots.
brings me to number two. That is actually my perfect point. They're not gonna put on a wrestling match. It's gonna be spear, jackhammer, jackhammer if he wins,
Yep.
and then Claymore, he kicks out of the Claymore, jackhammer, jackhammer, and then that's it. If he can even get Drew over his shoulder for a jackhammer, which I would bet he is. You know, it's not like the Big Show is being lifted here, but it's just like, to me, okay, and you're gonna call me crazy here, but if I'm WWE Monday night and I need like a real rating spark, and like I would have maybe think about actually giving that title to Keith Lee. Like, I know that's like a pay-per-view transfer of a
Not
title,
crazy. That's not. I'm
but
so on board for anything different.
it's just like a spark that they needed. And like Lee, well, he hasn't been overly impressive. I think he's played one of the top fiddles on that show, you know, with relative ease. Like, he's looked like he's belonged there for the most part. You know, there's been a few mixes up here and there, and you know, that's to be expected from somebody who just gets called up. Obviously, they do things slightly different in WWE, slightly. The whole reason of NXT is so that way they learn the WWE way. That's why, like, some of these guys that have been on the indies for years go to NXT first and then go to Raw and SmackDown. That's why, like, I mean, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they didn't need the polish of NXT for any other reason than to learn the way of WWE, which is like a big thing that they talk about on why they have those guys go to NXT.
Yep.
And you know, he's polished like that and he looks good. So I would have put it on him. But now I don't want to see Goldberg, just because the one thing I've enjoyed throughout McIntyre's reign is that championship being there. We've seen championship matches on Raw. Like, I think, like, that's one of the things that I just remember. Okay. So if Goldberg takes it from Drew at Royal Rumble and loses at Mania, I guess it's not that long, but it's just like your most important stretch where you have this title, and it's just not going to be on Raw every week. And if it is on Raw, there's no chance that the WWE Championship is being, one, defended, or that the person holding the belt is even competing.
No.
So that's why I don't want it to happen. But as long as they keep it a short reign, you know what I mean? I don't care. Like, if
He
he
would
holds
definitely
it
drop that Mania. There's no scenario.
from Rumble to Mania, then I guess, like, I gotta be okay with it. There's no fans, so that's a big thing too. I think, like, when you go to a house show, you want to see the WWE champion, and like, you're being robbed of that a little bit when a guy like Goldberg or Brock Lesnar is WWE champion too. So that's just my opinion. But again, I think it'll be okay. Like, whatever they decide to do, like you said, it can't be much worse than it's been, just because it's been so stale. I do 100% agree with you there.
No, to your point of Keith Lee, like, I would have been so on board for that. I was rooting for either AJ or Miz, like literally anything else. But, and again, it sounds like I hate Drew. I don't. They just got to do something different. It's the same thing over and over again. I think with Goldberg, where this happens a lot, where like the title reigns get stale. It's just how it goes. Where if you give it to Goldberg for 2 months and then like you put Drew back in the chase, like, the chase is the best part. You put Drew in the chase and you put Keith Lee in the chase. And all these guys are going against each other for the opportunity to fight Goldberg at Mania. That could be really interesting.
Yeah, and I also remember, you're right, things just get stale sometimes. Like, I remember watching Punk's reign, like 300 and whatever, however many days. And I remember sitting there at that reign, and at the end of it, I was like, oh, thank God this is over. You know what I mean? He did a great job of playing a heel. So that was a little bit different, where, like, you know, I was just like, all right, come on, who's gonna beat him now?
Yeah.
And then it was The Rock, and you know, that was, they kind of messed that up a little bit too, but we won't. Well, you know what? That's like 5 years over, or 10 years, 7 years over, or whatever. I'm not critiquing that. You know, that happened. It's done. I'm just saying that, yeah, you're right. It does get stale every once in a while. But I guess we could move over from the WWE Championship to the United States Championship and Bobby Lashley. And I think Monday night was a good sign for one of your favorite current wrestlers, possibly your favorite wrestler on Raw right now, and that's Matt Riddle. What do you think about the whole situation between Riddle and Lashley?
Didn't Jeff Hardy tap out to the Hurt Lock for like the 19th time this month?
No. That was 2 weeks ago.
Ah,
So Raw, basically what happened was Riddle, Lashley, one-on-one non-title match, right? Lashley has Riddle in the lock, in the Hurt Lock, right? And so Riddle, trying to get out of it, jumps against the ropes and swings his feet. And the ref just ducks at the last minute, but he kind of like rolls out of the way. So Riddle starts tapping and Lashley lets him out, but the ref is like recovering from like this roll he did. It was like quick,
ah,
it was like 5 seconds. So then Lashley starts raising his hand, like, oh, he just tapped out. And the ref didn't see it. So Lashley's arguing with the ref. MVP's up on the ring arguing with the ref, and Riddle rolls him up, and he gets the 1, 2, 3 on Lashley. So it was a fun. It was like a fun little match. Well, actually, it wasn't fun. It was really good. And then the ending was like fun. But yeah, it was cool for Riddle. Lashley finally. I think that's the first time Lashley got pinned in like. I mean, I can't even remember
I
last time.
can't remember.
It had to be
McIntyre?
McIntyre. Like it
Probably
had to be McIntyre. That was at the beginning of the summer. So kudos to Bobby Lashley for a great run there of not getting pinned.
No, I'm sure they're going to drag this out a few more weeks with like Jeff Hardy versus like Jeff Hardy and Matt versus the whatever they call themselves, MVP's group, the Hurt Business. But probably at Royal Rumble, right? They'll fight at the Rumble.
I hope so, and I think it's the right move. Throw it. You know, we need something new. Like you said, throw it on the kid. He's been very entertaining. I don't know how much of a kid he is. He's probably like 35.
Yeah, he's probably 33 or something.
Yeah,
Probably.
he's not a kid, but
Give him a belt. Why
give
not?
him the
They
belt.
won't. They won't. Last year,
They're not gonna do it. They're
maybe.
we'll get into our Royal Rumble predictions, but I thought it was at least a little like cool moment. As for Jeff Hardy, he fought Randy Orton and lost to Randy Orton in the exact same match they had at Royal Rumble 2008. Literally, the ending was Jeff's gonna hit the twisted feint. Randy turns it into an RKO, and you know what? It looked beautiful in 08, and it looked beautiful in 2021. So I'll give them that. Any thoughts on that match? You could feel free to say no. I'm not forcing you.
I mean, like, I guess it's fine. Like, it's like a Legends night, so that's a
It
good.
was fun for Legends Night. I
The whole
agree.
theme was Randy like shitting on all the legends and telling them that they're all worthless old men. And like, what did Jeff come to their aid? Was he like, no, they're not? Like,
No, it was just a preset match before, but he was talking about how he was going to kill Jeff Hardy and all that stuff. You know,
and then
Randy's good.
and then
Randy's really
naturally he
good.
won the match. Naturally,
Randy was really good at doing things where you're like, he probably shouldn't get away with that, but it's Randy or like it's the PG error, but like Randy's not being PG
can
tonight.
you
Like,
can you explain to me why Ric Flair gets like bullied? Like every time he comes on, like he's just like gets like he's like an old man. He's like senile. He like almost died last year. Every time he's on TV, like he's getting run down by someone.
I don't understand it. And then he had the weird thing with Charlotte, which I still don't completely understand.
Yeah, he's like trying to get with Lacey Evans now, and
I
Charlotte's
don't know. It
like,
was a
"I'll never
whole
forgive you.
thing.
You're an old man. Leave." And he's like crying, and then like Randy's like, "You're an old man. I hate you. Leave." And like he's
He's like,
crying.
you talk like Ric Flair and you walk like Ric Flair, but you're not Ric Flair.
Like 75. Leave him alone.
And I think the thing is, like, I think the crazy part about it is, I think Rick loves it. Like, I think Rick absolutely
He's coming
loves it.
back.
Like, he goes back every single time. It's like he's still on the payroll. I would not be surprised if he was still like a yearly salaried guy.
Oh, definitely. He definitely is. There's no way.
Right? He shows up so much.
Yeah, there's no way that he's under contract.
Listen, that's a guy who you just kind of let him do these things. You know, you just kind of let him because of how big he was for the success of just wrestling in general. It does get a little annoying, but you know, you just kind of gotta
I
let it
don't hate
go.
that he's there. It's just like, why does he get?
Let's move over to Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Did they get their titles back?
You're asking the wrong person.
I don't know either. That's why I was asking you.
I'm gonna say no then.
I'm gonna say no too, but I'll tell you who's not winning the Raw Tag Team Championships, and that is the team of Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. They've now 0 for 2 as a team in back-to-back SmackDowns. We'll get to that a little bit later, but I just thought it was funny. I'm like, okay, this team is not working out. It's funny because I think they're actually a really entertaining pair, but it's just like the way they've lost the last 2 weeks, you know. Good story building. But yeah, Nia and Shayna beat up Mandy Rose and then got herself beat up by Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. So
It's the same stuff every single week. Like
I
it's
agree. They don't have the titles and yet they're still feuding. I don't understand. Like, shouldn't they be going after Charlotte and Asuka?
you would think.
Oh, here's a little fun fact for you that I was reading. Who competed in the most matches on WWE I'm sorry, in WWE last year?
The most matches in WWE last year.
From the calendar year of 2020.
Randy?
No,
It can't be Charlotte if that's like the
it's not Charlotte.
it's
I
not
would say
Asuka.
it is Asuka.
It is.
Yeah. So she actually outworked every single person in the WWE this year in terms of putting on matches. When I heard it, I wasn't surprised at all.
I
Like I
believe
wasn't surprised at all.
she's
You know what I
always
mean? I
here.
was like,
She was either tag team champion or women's champion the entire
she,
time.
yeah, she was a champion for most of the year, and she was pretty hot for most of the year too. She obviously cooled down when she faced Sasha, but otherwise she's pretty unstoppable too. So, and every week she just fights on Raw. So, thank you for being the workhorse you are, Asuka. We appreciate you. Which I guess brings me to my next conversation. Asuka is still the Raw Women's Champion and the Women's Tag Team champions. Excuse me. Who do you see her facing at Royal Rumble?
She'll probably set it out, right?
Does that make any sense though? Like,
Nothing makes
no,
sense.
right? Okay. I
Was
just wanted to
she,
make sure that we were on
was
the
she
same page.
there with Charlotte this week when Charlotte fought Lacey Evans?
Yeah, that was a tag team match.
Oh, it was a tag team match. So maybe Peyton Royce, like a one-off.
All right. That would be cool, I guess.
They'll just lose to Peyton.
Yeah.
She'll just lose to Asuka in like 10
Yeah.
seconds and no one will care.
Yeah. That could be.
That's probably the tag team match, right?
It could be that too. I don't know. This is the problem they run into when they put two titles on somebody.
It would be fun if they had like a fatal four-way at the Rumble with Lacey and Charlotte and Peyton. It'd be fun.
Oh yeah, that would be really cool. But I feel like you're right. I feel like they're gonna prioritize the tag team championships over the Raw Women's Championship.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter who she faces; she's going to retain at the Rumble unless it's Charlotte. But I can't really jump that feud already.
So, that would be a really quick turnaround, right? We're like 3 weeks from Sunday.
It would have to be like Raw on Monday. She'd have to like jump her, which I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, so I think the overall vibe I'm getting here is the two of us are very confused about what they're doing in the women's division. Like we kind of don't really have a clue here. We're just kind of putting in our best guesses. So hey, listen, they're keeping us guessing. I don't know if that's a good thing.
I can't wait for the night after Mania, like when Mania ends and we're like recapping it, we're like discussing it. We're just going to be like, how the hell was Naomi still not here? Like, where is she? There's 30 women. Where's Naomi?
We're like, so Charlotte won the title, lost the title, and managed to win it again in the same night. We don't really know how that happened.
Charlotte actually walked away with the Royal Rumble win, the Raw Women's Championship, and the Raw Smack Tag Team Champions, and she's going to fight.
She actually beat Asuka for both titles. They had a one-on-one match for all three of the belts.
She's going to challenge Sasha because she won the Rumble at Mania. It's going to be. I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, moving on. Alexa Bliss and The Fiend were noticeably absent from Monday Night Raw. Is it a good idea to just keep them gone until the Royal Rumble?
I don't know. Like, I'm interested. I am, but like, who the hell? Like, I don't know where they're going. No one knows where they're going. Like,
is it still Randy? Like, was this just a good like little Legends night for Randy?
Oh yeah, it's still Randy.
Okay,
still Randy, 100%. Randy, like, first of all, someone had a really good tweet about this. So like, they waited an hour, and it was like an hour and 12 minutes of the show where Randy was like, "I didn't burn her alive." It's like, you probably should have led with that, guys. Like, last week's cliffhanger was, "Is this girl alive or not?" It's like, and now Randy's like, "I couldn't do it. I hate myself for like sparing her life." I was like, "What is this? What are we doing?" And like, she wasn't there, so like, maybe she should have been there. If we talked about how her life was spared, that would make a little sense if she showed up for like at least a minute, just to be like, "I am alive, guys. Hey." The Hulk Hogan stuff was terrible. You didn't even mention that. The intro was really, really bad.
I just didn't want to.
Yeah, no, like, I don't know. I like The Fiend. I like Alexa. I never have any idea what direction it's going.
It's really hard to put a title on The Fiend.
He shouldn't have a title. He doesn't need it.
It's really hard. And then like, it's really hard to find him opponents like Randy Orton. So when they do, they just like tend to stretch it out, possibly a little bit too long. So yeah, I think that's their issue that they're facing right now, because you don't want to lessen him by putting him with someone lesser. But Randy can only do so much. He can only burn so many people alive. You know what I mean? So, I mean, and that's tough. That's like a tough little booking that they face. Uh, all right. I just wrote this last note as the field. Is there anybody else on Raw that you even feel necessary to talk about? Like, oh wait, I'm sorry. We do have to talk about the tag team champions who are the Hurt Business right now, who weeks after winning their first tag team champions are already unfolding. Did you see this coming this early? I thought this would be around Mania. I did. I mean, like you said it a few weeks ago that this would happen, but I know you didn't intend for it to happen like a literal 2 weeks after they won the belt.
No, you would have
I
figured.
know you didn't see that coming.
No, you would have figured they would have given them at least a run with it before. Like the whole thing is like you plant seeds up to it when you're breaking up a tag team. Like they just jumped right into it. They already like for some unexplained reason, Shelton and Cedric Alexander just hate each other. It's really strange. MVP's like, you two get it together. Like, what's the beef? Like, why can we get like some
We
story?
didn't explain it at all.
We
Like it was a
explained
missed
why.
tag. That was it.
It's just
Like Shelton was getting his ass kicked, and then like I'm sorry, Cedric was getting his ass kicked, and then Shelton was like, "Oh, my partner's getting beat up. I better tag in and help him out." And then this blew Cedric's mind. Like this blew, like that was it. That was the breakdown of this tag team. 1 week, 1 minute. It was and it literally happened in a minute. Like the whole thing.
I think Cedric should be a singles guy. I don't think he should be in a tag team with Shelton Benjamin at this point. I think it's just kind of wasting time. I don't know. It's not really a point to me. But that being said, I don't think I'm gonna have fun watching like the Cedric face turn fighting Bobby Lashley. Like I don't think I care about that either. So it's just like maybe kick out Shelton Benjamin and make I don't know, do something different. I don't know.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. I don't know either. I don't know either. All right. The last note I have here is the field. Is there anybody in the field of Raw that we didn't really discuss that you feel the need to bring up? When I was making this show, I feel like I might have missed somebody, so I'm just gonna throw it to you.
It seems like Miz and Morrison are doing like the New Day now.
I forgot they existed.
It seems like they're doing the New Day. Miz got his briefcase back because
That feels like to me just like a Royal Rumble feud where it's just like they're all going to be in the Rumble, so we're just going to have them entertain on Raw for the next few weeks, which is good. This is the New Day are the chameleons, right? Of the WWE, they can just kind of change themselves to be whatever they kind of need at the current moment. And I feel like it's the same thing with Miz too. Like he could be a WWE feud, WWE Championship feud. He could be an Intercontinental Championship feud. Like
you know what could actually really happen? They can make Drew and Goldberg go like 7 or 8 minutes of just like nonstop finishes. Drew wins and then Miz cashes in. That could happen.
I mean, at this point, like we can't have another false cash in. You know what I mean? Like we can't have.
Yeah.
He did a great job segments teasing that belt, and then he did it, and it was awful, and then he got it back, and like, okay, but now we got to keep him away from Drew until it's actually time.
Yeah, but then the problem with that is I think you'd rather, just from a company standpoint, go into WrestleMania with Drew holding that belt instead of the Miz.
Or yeah.
Over the Miz, I'm saying.
Oh yeah, Drew over the Miz, but I'm saying or Goldberg if you want to just like wait. I mean, like he could do it at Mania. Like I don't know if that would be a big
Goldberg,
pop.
but he's still a draw. He'll always be. That's why he keeps coming back.
Right. But what I'm saying is you'd rather Goldberg or Drew be champion than the Miz going into WrestleMania.
Just from like a
money standpoint, yeah.
The marketing, yeah.
You either have Drew McIntyre, who's like one of the biggest stars today, or you have Goldberg, who's one of the biggest stars of the Attitude Era. So you know the Miz. All due respect to the Miz, I think he's a world of talent. But I know that he's just not seen in that light by all the fans across, casual fans.
When you think about just like the graphic that would pop up of like Roman Reigns versus whoever it is, and it goes over to the Miz, it's like,
Yeah. Yep. No, I get exactly what you're saying. But I think it would be an exciting cash in at Mania if they decided to do that.
That could be interesting.
Yeah. So anybody else on Raw that I'm like really missing? Ricochet and Ali did not show up this week. Ricochet did have like a tiny segment with Mark Henry.
Ali had a really good promo on Raw Talk.
Did he?
Bashing Raw Legends Night. You
watch it? No, I didn't see it.
He had a great line in it where he was like, "I get it, they paved the way, but when are they going to let me walk on that pavement?" I was like, "That is so true." Like, yeah, like you have to like give them all their respect and everything, but like they just keep coming back. Like, when is he supposed to become like a star, a guy? Like, it was such a good line.
That's good. I gotta check that out now. I gotta see what that's
And
about.
one more thing in that, Charlie Caruso said, like, "Did you hear the fans tonight?" Like, I don't know why she would ever say that. Because, and then Ali goes, "Yeah, they really bumped up the noise for that." I was like, "Oh my!" I was like really surprised they went there.
Breaking all the walls. That's fun. That's a lot of
It
fun.
was really good.
That's good. He's definitely talented.
I'm happy Lacey's doing something, even though it seems like she wants to be like Charlotte's stepmom. Like, she's involved in the storyline, sure. I complain that she's not used every week, so I guess that's
Now she is being used every week as Charlotte's stepmom.
let's put her
So,
back on SmackDown. I like her on SmackDown.
um, what do you think about uh? What was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Let's just go to NXT. I'm done talking about Raw. We talked enough about Raw.
Okay.
All right. So New Year's Evil happened, hosted by Dexter Loomis. Now I have to say, Dexter Loomis put on one of the most important. I'm sorry, one of the most impressive performances I've seen in WWE TV in a while, as he was the host of a show and never spoke a word. So great job, Dexter.
Very entertaining. I like
I
that.
know you like Dexter Loomis a lot. I was actually very entertained by his performance this week. He's a weird guy. Like his
He's the
character's
guy
a weird guy, I should say.
who should never
Uh,
come up. He'll be ruined here. He should stay there forever. Because Vince gonna give him a mic and be like, "Why don't you go out there and talk about your life?" And like,
I want you to tell them why you were silent.
tell them
Like,
like why you got bullied as a kid and why you murdered your bullies. Remember Lars Sullivan? Where did he go?
wait, come on now. I'll get when we talk about the field and the SmackDown, you can rant about Lars Sullivan.
I have nothing to rant about. Just like we had those three things where like he was talking to Cole and Graves about how he murdered his childhood bullies and then he disappeared again. So
I could see him like turning up in the Rumble, like eliminating 15 people, or
I
I
would,
could see us never seeing him again.
I would
Like,
hate I would hate that. But yeah, this
I don't say I'm not saying I would like it. I'm just saying I could see it happen. Johnny Gargano, super entertaining with what he's doing with the way right now, and the two that they have,
the
it's
children.
Austin Theory and
It's,
yeah,
what's her name? I can't think of her name. Not it's not Chauncey. What's her name? Indy Hartwell.
Indy Hartwell. Yes, super entertaining. Like very funny.
It's really
What they've been doing on NXT. So I enjoyed those segments. The match between Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly, excellent,
that was awesome.
excellent. But I just feel like from a story standpoint, they just kind of tied up some loose ends. The main takeaways, though, Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest appear to be on their way out of NXT. Where do you want to see them, Raw or SmackDown?
I mean, like naturally, I want everyone to go to Raw, but at the same time, like they're not going to be used properly. So it's like I'm gonna say I'm gonna say SmackDown because I know they'll be used properly on SmackDown, even though Raw desperately needs help. Like Damian Priest has no shot on Raw.
I
Like,
think Rhea Ripley could do fine on Raw. Like I really do think with Shayna Baszler there, Nia Jax, and Charlotte and Asuka, like she could definitely do fine there. But I do agree with what you're saying about Priest. Priest is like this cool guy. He's like tall and super athletic. Like if they use him right, he could be just as good as Keith Lee and Riddle have been.
if he goes to Raw,
I don't have faith
he'll be jobbing out to Bobby Lashley. Like he should not go to Raw.
in like right away or like a year.
They'll probably try to make a big deal about him. Like when he comes up, they'll have some like vignettes for him, and like he'll show up, he'll win his debut match against like Tozawa, and then like a couple weeks later, he'll be losing to Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, I just don't know with him.
There was a
It was
report.
funny because I did read. So they had him ready for. Yeah, they had him ready for SmackDown last week, and they said basically he was going to be Kevin Owens' best friend. and he was going to help Kevin Owens against Roman Reigns. And KO and Roman basically just said, okay, but why is he Kevin Owens' best friend? Like what? Like how did that happen? Like there's just like so Roman was just like, no, like I don't care if we're doing like that, but like why? Like I need a why, and like no one could come up with the why. So Roman was like no, and KO was like yeah no, and I guess good on Roman, I guess for
Yeah,
for trying to be smart about it, but yeah, so that's why he's not there. And now there's rumors that he's going to come up to Raw, Mark's worst nightmare.
we
So,
pre. I mean, we preach continuity, all these things. Like, shout out to the superstars for caring.
yeah, no, that it's nice. Roman's been the best part of WWE television over the last few weeks.
You literally,
Uh,
I know it's not. He's a healer right now, but you have Sami Zayn on the show,
yeah,
and like,
yeah.
and it just doesn't make sense. Like, oh, let's get
No,
this
you're right.
guy who they've never done anything with together. Kevin Owens and Damian Priest have never interacted together on WWE television, but it's like, yeah, he's his best friend. He'll come and say, use your head. I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are hoping post WrestleMania that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will do something together in some capacity because now they've put them far enough away from each other for a long time for us to be like, okay, like we're ready for that. Like, because I remember those fights and like when they first got to WWE and they were feuding, and they were awesome. Like they were so good.
The heel Sammy stuff's been really good, but I would pop huge tonight if he came out and saves
That would be
Kevin
amazing.
Owens.
It would just not make a lot of sense right now with his character. Like he was like literally just evil last week.
But he
So
dropped the title, so now he can switch.
yeah, I guess like he could like be like making fun of Roman,
He could be
and
like
then
conflicted, like Roman, Kevin Owens, like beating Roman and Jay beating him up, and like maybe he like walks out to the ramp and he like doesn't know what to do, and he like runs at that. We would go nuts. That'd be sick.
it would be really cool and like a good way to flip him because while he does do really great work as a heel, I think it's very hard to be a babyface in WWE right now, and he actually plays that really really well.
Yeah.
So having a babyface like Kevin, like Sami Zayn, not a bad thing. So yeah, that would be one that I definitely think would be a cool thing to do. But sticking with NXT for a second, anything else stand out on New Year's Evil for you that was really, really
Finn looked awesome, but that's pretty much it. Finn's obviously still a really big deal, even though
now Finn's in NXT, right? Like he's locked in NXT.
he's their champion.
He better be in the Royal Rumble, right? Like he better like that seems like a no-brainer to me.
I don't know. That might be like he's not going to win it, so maybe you don't want him to lose.
Okay. I guess I see that. But I just think that that's a guy like no matter where he is, like people on the main roster like know who Finn Balor is, you know what I mean? Like main roster fans know who Prince Devitt is, you know?
I think it's the same with Cole though, where like you're not going to put him in the Rumble to lose.
Yeah.
So like if we see Adam Cole, I would expect it to be a high number, like a 27 or a 28, and like him winning that match.
Or getting to the end in like at least in that scenario, right?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I don't think it's out of the question for Gargano, Ciampa, Cole, Balor, Priest, carrying Cross. Like, I think all these guys are should be Rumble bound. The same thing with some of the women, and the women have a better chance because the roster is not as packed for the women for them to get 30 women into the Rumble.
They always need like 10 or 12 NXT
Like
girls.
Shotzi should definitely be in. Io Shirai should definitely be in. Tony Storm, Raquel Gonzalez, like all these girls should be in like the women's Royal Rumble. It would be a really nice appearance. And we're actually going to try and guess all 30 of both participants, and we're going to be very wrong. Like we're like we have no shot with like especially the men because like there are so many returns that could happen with the men, and there's also way more than 30 men on the roster right now that aren't champions, where it's like we could try, but like we're not going to get anything right.
I'd say we should shoot for like 20 out of 30 correct, and
I was even thinking less than that. Like for the men, 15, for the women, like 20.
I think 15 is a lock. Like I can definitely get 15 men in there that will definitely be in the Rumble.
Okay, so you're saying 20.
I mean, we'll do all 30. I'm saying if we hit 20, I think that's really impressive.
Okay, yeah, no, I anticipate that we have a lot of the same people.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
except for like 5 or like 6 people, you know what I mean? Like I anticipate like we have like 20 plus people the same. So we'll see. how that goes, but that'll be next week. But finally, let's move on to SmackDown if we've got nothing else for NXT. And let's start with the Street Profits, who I just found out are going to be in a tag team match tonight, a tag team championship match tonight. This is like a no-brainer. The Profits win, right?
I was about to say, is there a chance they don't?
I now I'm starting to feel like that.
How
Yes,
many?
but like
They've had this match like 3 times already, right? These two have fought for the tag titles.
it's like happens so often.
It's definitely happened twice. I know the last one was like a screwy finish, which is probably why this one's happening. But like at the same time, it'd be really, really bad if they, after this long run, they dropped it to Rude and Ziggler.
They had this really funny promo last Friday talking about what a great 2020 they had, even though it was terrible. Like Dawkins was like 2020 needs to get all the way out of here, and then Ford was like, wait, Doc, we had a great 2020. Like we were champions the entirety of the year. Like we had belts from the beginning of 2020 to the end of 2020, and he was right, and it was funny. And then they talked about how they need to start calling Dolph Ziggler the Heart Eight Kid because he imitates all of Shawn Michaels' moves, which I thought was really funny, and like they always do good stuff like that. But yeah, I don't want them to lose these belts on a random SmackDown after holding them for a literal year.
It wouldn't make sense, but I could care less if they win or lose tonight.
It would just be so terrible. It would just be so terrible if, like, after a year, they didn't even give them the grace to lose on a pay-per-view. What's next for Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Carmella, and Carmella's new friend?
I think Carmella gets another match with Sasha at the Rumble, probably, right? Just to give Sasha something to do.
That seems right to me.
I think Bianca just stays like intertwined with both Bayley and Sasha to keep her relevant until the Rumble, where she either wins it, or if she doesn't win the Rumble, then like she'll plant the seeds that night that she's going to fight like one of them at Mania. Like,
okay,
she'll either go after Sasha or go after Bayley or do something like big time if she doesn't win.
all right. I generally agree with you. Like I agree with what you're saying. I think Bianca is really, she's come on strong enough in SmackDown where I'm not really worried about her falling into irrelevancy right now.
No, she's fine.
Obviously, if she doesn't get that match, like that big match with either Bayley or Sasha, like I'll start to worry about it. But right now, it seems like she's very prominent, and like, thank God. Like, I'm not gonna give anyone credit for them booking Bianca Belair the right way because like it was so like right in front of their faces after what she did in Survivor Series. Like that match was awful. That Women's Survivor Series match was awful, but she was so good in it. It was like not awful. It was like okay.
It was the only
like without her, it would have been terrible.
The only bright spot, 100%.
Like that was so entertaining watching her like break out of Shayna Baszler's chokehold and everything. Like she did such a great job. It was like, all right, we clearly have a star on our hands here, and they didn't mess it up. So I guess good job, but I'm not giving you credit for that.
Yeah.
All right. So since we're talking about the field, any other SmackDown women that we have to talk about?
I've enjoyed Billie Kay. I've enjoyed Billie Kay's stuff. I mean, like, I don't mind this role that she's in. Like, I don't need to see her wrestle. I think she's really good with the comedy stuff. So I think this is fine, like bouncing around. I think they're building up the Riot Squad well enough that they're probably the next tag team champions, whether that's at the Rumble or Mania, whenever they plan to do it. I think they're next. Natalya doesn't matter. Tamina was randomly there for the first time ever. And like,
well, it's Rumble season, so we got to start putting Tamina on the screen, you know, so that way when she comes in, it's gonna be like, oh, how are we getting this one over the ropes?
I think I just named every single girl on the SmackDown roster, so I think we're good.
Yeah, except for Sonya Deville, who maybe we'll see her walking backstage again, or maybe we won't. Maybe she'll cut a promo. Just give us something, Sonya. I'm in. Like,
thing is, like, you don't want her
to like half in. I'm all the way in. Like, just give me something.
It's just a weird time. Because what's she gonna do? Is she gonna call out Sasha and just lose to Sasha? It's like,
listen, the best thing for her to do right now is just go out to the mic, go out to the ring, and be like, they brought me back because they needed me or something like that, and then just declare for the Rumble. Like, cut a nice promo about how like she's the real star here. That's what they needed, and she's gonna declare for the Rumble, and then have a good showing in the Rumble. Like, that's the best thing that she could do.
If she like calls out Sasha, if she calls out Sasha tonight, she's shot. Like, she's dead.
Yeah, I don't want that at all.
I'm saying if that's the case, then she's out. Like,
yeah, I don't want that at all. call out like Billie Kay and like squash Billie Kay. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I know you said that you don't need to see her wrestle, but like a loss won't hurt Billie Kay with what she's doing right now.
Yeah.
Like, or beat Natalia or beat Tamina, like just and dominate it too. Like, don't give them a chance. Like, and then declare for the Rumble. Like, keep her away from the title, let her do that, and like let's build her up. Because having a lot of superstars on the show is not a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like we talk about the four. Carmella's she's hot right now. Like she's doing great right now. We got Sasha Banks and Bayley. We don't need to talk about how good they are. I just went on 5 minutes praising Bianca Belair, so I won't do it again. But she's awesome. Having Sonya Deville be good amongst them would be really good. It's like if you bring Rhea Ripley to Raw, right? You've got Asuka, you've got Charlotte, you've got Nia Jax, you have Shayna Baszler. It's like, okay, you're working with, you know what I mean? Like they're building these rosters up so there are multiple people that can take these championships. So just do it with Sonya, you know what I mean? And also another good point you made about the Riot Squad, that's a great tag team to put the tag team titles on. They're an actual tag team. We've seen so much good positive stuff about Liv Morgan. We both like Ruby Riott. Like, that's great. Like, it seems like over at SmackDown, they're starting to understand this women's division and how to build it up. You know what I mean? And Raw is actually surprisingly starting to follow suit. After Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler lost those titles, like they should be singles. They shouldn't be together right now. I realize that they're just bare on women's tag teams, so they kind of were forced to throw them together, but I don't even think they had to do that. But it is what it is. Let's move on. I'm actually interested in the match that's going to happen. I definitely think E retains, but Big E versus Apollo. It should be fun.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. It's just, I don't know.
Okay.
I like Apollo's cool. They don't care about him. They haven't cared about him. They get like one little run, and
he did have a nice run and then went away for a few months and like laughed backstage with Big E, and now Big E's got the title and he's challenging Big E, and it'll be fun. Do you think this leads to anything for Apollo?
no, he'll be off TV in like a week and a half.
All right, there you go. So that's that. Maybe a heel turn.
Do we care about an Apollo Crews heel turn?
It's up to him to make us care. How about that?
Okay.
All right, there we go. Okay. And I think the last important thing happening on SmackDown is obviously who is Roman Reigns facing at Royal Rumble? Like right now, like who do you think is going to be the feud? Like who's going to be the title match?
Probably Kevin Owens.
It's a true, and like, okay, so we talk about the 50-50 booking all the time, but this hasn't been 50-50. Like Roman's just won every match and he's going to win the next one too. But this is actually a match that I'm not upset about. You know what I mean? Like if they give us a third, I'm not upset about it.
I'll say Roman does not defend the title. It's Roman and Jay versus Kevin Owens and someone else at the Rumble.
Say that one more time.
No title match. Roman does not defend the title at the Rumble. Roman tags with Jay against Kevin Owens and someone else.
Okay, that's interesting.
Guess like, what's the point of having Kevin Owens lose for the fourth time? Like,
I agree. So what do you think? You think Kevin Owens and partner will get a win?
Will beat Jay and then Roman will kill Jay.
Who do you think the partner will be?
I kind of booked Sami Zayn myself just now. Like, I think that'd be really cool. But
do you think that's actually going to happen though?
Is anyone, maybe Daniel Bryan? It's either Daniel Bryan, Sammy, or like
Daniel Bryan already declared for the Rumble. I mean, I guess he could do both.
You could do both. I'd imagine Kevin Owens will be in the Rumble as well.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll say Sammy because I want it to happen. I think it'd be fun.
That would be fun. Trying to think if there are any like baby faces on SmackDown that just aren't being used right now. Could be Lars Sullivan, Kevin Owens' best friend. They're best friends because
they both hate bullies.
Exactly. There it is. We just wrote a WWE story.
Book it.
Line. Praise us. Book it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Obviously, we're in that weird time where like storylines don't really matter because the only thing we care about is the Royal Rumble or both Royal Rumble matches, and they're just kind of positioning everyone for the Royal Rumble and the champions for the championship match because really like that's the only thing we care about when the Rumble comes. It's the two title or the 4 title matches now, which we might not even get a women's championship match on Raw, and the 2 Royal Rumble matches because those are what are leading into the big matches at WrestleMania, and everything else just kind of takes the back seat, which is fine. We're used to it. You can't have everything be amazing. I just hope we get a good Rumble. And like I know, like, we both said Daniel Bryan, but I'm still not completely sold on the fact that it'll definitely happen. Like, in years past, I feel like we've had heavier favorites.
Oh,
You
definitely. Like he definitely might not win, but I
Like,
think
even the Nakamura year, I feel like we were more confident in Nakamura than I currently am in Daniel Bryan winning.
yeah, no, for sure. Because Nakamura was like on TV, it was really hot. Like it was just, I feel like they really telegraphed that one.
Mhm,
But this might it could be literally 10 different guys. I'm gonna go with TB. I think it makes the most sense.
mhm. So that's pretty much gonna do it for us today. One of our shorter episodes because,
Well, like
it's
an
a
hour.
yeah, well, we do our best work in the Royal Rumble, so even our shorter episodes are great.
That is true.
Um, but yeah, definitely join us next week because we're gonna have probably one of our more fun episodes where I know I will definitely come up with at least one ridiculous name to be in the Royal Rumble. And Mark will laugh at me the whole entire episode. So yeah, I mean, until then, we just gotta hope that tonight's entertaining, Monday's entertaining, and hopefully a few more people declare too, so that way, we the more people declare, the less we have to worry about getting wrong. That's why I waited until next week.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, after that, we're gonna take a look at some prop bets for the Royal Rumble, and we are going to rank our top Royal Rumbles of the last 15 years because let's be honest, you don't care about a bunch of 20-year-olds ranking the 1995 Royal Rumble. Um, and then the week after that is the week before the Rumble, and we'll be doing our predictions. So we're actually full steam ahead into this. The next three shows are going to be a lot of fun, some different stuff in the next two, and then the predictions the last week before the Rumble. So, yeah. You got anything left, Mark?
I'm
Anything
all
left to
good.
say? Okay. Well, then I appreciate you guys watching. If you want, like, subscribe, all that stuff. And that'll do it for us. Thanks again for watching.